Welcome to part 1 of the Spalted Maple Live Edge conference table build. This one could double as a dining room table, still working that out, have a couple customers in mind. But this is a video of how it all came together. This is the first one in the series, so let's take a look and see how things all came together. As you can see, this is an absolutely beautifully book-matched set of spalted maple slabs. These range about 9 feet long and all in all are just over 24 inches wide. The first thing that had to happen to lay these out so to make sure they would fit through my 20-inch planer was to utilize that straight edge that came from the mill. I then, after laying out what 20 inches would be, put a reference line utilizing my laser level. Then I laid out a reference line, a solid reference line, so that I knew where to put my saw. From there, I was able to extend the solid reference line all the way down the entire slab, just utilizing a straight edge and making sure it was all lined up with the laser level. Then I rinsed and repeated on the opposite slab. Now when laying out the interior line, I'd actually given myself an extra ½ inch of leeway. So here I am laying out exactly 20 inches and measuring that out, after which I'll come back and cut off that edge with the track saw. Utilizing a track saw made this a really simple task. The only downside was it didn't cut quite deep enough, so I actually had to use a hand saw to get that last 1/8 of an inch across the entire piece. But it was pretty simple in the end. Now comes the slightly more daunting task of cutting the length of the entire slab. Once again, I had to follow this back up with a hand saw, and I found out pretty quickly that you'll notice as I'm using the hand saw that using the standard Japanese blade, which is made more for dovetails, doesn't work as well simply because of the spine on the top end of the blade. So I actually have to make the switch to a Ryobi blade to be able to get all the way through, just to cut the length of the entire slab. Also, kudos to my dad for helping out in the shop. It was huge to have an extra set of hands. Unfortunately, he's not always the best about knowing where the camera placement is. Once again, just going to rinse and repeat the same process on the other slab to make sure that everything can get perfectly glued up together in the end. Now comes the task of cleaning up the interior edge that we just cut with the hand plane. The reason for this is the depth of the cut of the track saw obviously left a little bit of an overhang because the blade thickness is slightly thicker than obviously the Japanese hand saw. So this is going to make sure everything is perfectly square, perfectly flat going forward so that the glue up goes as well as can be expected. This is the first time I was able to truly utilize all 20 inches of this 5 horsepower helical head 20-inch planer. Before this, I had a DeWalt 13-inch planer for about 5 years. Having that extra few inches, as a lot of people will say, obviously is something you definitely want. Hi-oh! Similar to the planer, this is the first time I actually had the true capability of realizing not only the power, but the safety attributes that come along with using a full-size joiner. Before this, I'd been using a benchtop model, and as many of you know, using the benchtop model, there's just certain limitations in capacity that are unsafe to use with something this large. So definitely made me feel a lot better knowing that I wasn't going to get injured trying to balance and wrestle this huge slab along this massive joiner. She's a beaut, Clark. This is how the layout came just off the machines. Absolutely stunning in my book. In the next video, we're going to tackle leveling it as well as glue up. And in the third video, we'll tackle some of the base features. See you next time.